Today's guest is someone we've been on together with multiple times. She's a New York City attorney. Her name is Mia Poppe, and she's full of energy. I love her energy. Ever since I met her, we've had like a love fest every time we talk. But anyway, one of the things that we're going to get into today is something that we call taking strategic oversight of your case. This is something that we work on with our clients all the time, all of whom are dealing with a very high conflict ex. I see you, Mia. And so we want a pet of clients for their attorney. I think there's a myth out there that says that attorneys just want to thrive on the conflict and make you spend tons of money and they love it. But I don't agree, especially with the great attorneys like Mia, who looks gorgeous with her beach hair. Um, but I thought, from obviously a veteran attorney who also has personal experience with these kinds of people, you'd be the perfect person to talk about how to help our clients save time, money, energy through this process instead of being a pain in the butt.
Love it. And listen, Lisa, when I heard the topic, taking strategic control of your divorce, number one, I love the topic because it puts empowerment with the person who is feeling at their most disempowered point in life. Going through a divorce disarms you on every level, right? And number one, because there's a character in the cast of characters called a judge who at any time can make a controlling decision over your life. So, empowerment through taking strategic control of your case, it's right up my alley. And one of my favorite things to say to clients when they are trying to remove themselves from the action. And what I mean by that, oftentimes clients are so overwhelmed, Lisa, that they want to pull back. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
say to my client, listen, I work for you. I work for you, right? And while I'm out there on the field, because I know the field is what I do, you got to be in this game. And so I love the topic. I
Yeah,
love the topic. And I have several things to say on the topic.
I know you do. And I love you said the thing about like, I work for you because I was talking to a lawyer recently. She said, I want the client to take the wheel. I'm not the one who's supposed to be driving. The client is driving. The client is the consumer. They're paying the bills. So yes, not that they need to agree with everything, but they need to understand what's going on and feel empowered through the process. So before we even get into it, Mia, can you please introduce yourself just in case people don't know who you are?
Oh my gosh. So my name is Mia Poppe, and I've been a practicing matrimonial attorney in the New York metro area for 18 years. My practice is located in Midtown Manhattan. I have a niche competency in dealing in high conflict situations, and particularly in situations where custody is at issue. And not only am I a practicing matrimonial attorney, but as Lisa implied, I've also been through the full fledged divorce process where custody was litigated here in our New York courts. So experientially, I know from whence I speak.
Yes, you're part of the been there, got out yourself club.
I'm a part of the club and I'm carrying the card, girl.
So Mia, there's all kinds of myths people have about the process. First, before you get into like what people should actually be thinking and doing, what are some things that you've seen in the past nearly 2 decades of ideas that people come in with like how it's going to be or how it's supposed to be, and what you
Well,
would tell them like, no.
so people come in with ideas, Lisa, and I just want to frame this thought. I'm going to adjust my chair a little bit. I want to frame the thought and frame this profession to everybody. So the legal profession is one of the two oldest professions in our baby country. The law and prostitution, oldest professions. And so because it's an old profession, there are a lot of old thoughts that have attached to the profession that carry on alive and well to this day. And I want to say this gingerly because I love everybody, but one of the prevailing mindsets is a very patriarchal mindset. You sit here, don't say a word, I'm going to take care of you.
Mm.
Very, very patriarchal. And it exists heavily today. And clients are used to that. They're used to, you know, a lawyer being a daddy and taking care of everything. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say daddy, I'm not referring to any gender, right?
Yeah.
Um, but that's not optimal, and that's not an optimal way to do things, and that's a very antiquated way of doing things, right? This is your life, and this is your pain, and this is your discomfort, but most of all, frequently, these are your children,
Mm-hmm.
and you really really need to be not the quarterback on the field. I'm the quarterback on the field. I have the talent, I have the skill set, but your quarterback should not be a
Oh, wait, Mia, volume. Your volume just went off.
your quarterback, your lawyer should not be a Tom Brady who's calling his own plays.
Yes.
You should be on the sidelines with headphones on, actively talking to your quarterback on the field.
Love it.
And
Chris would
that's
appreciate this.
and that's how the process should go, right? Because listen, the coach on the field, he's not equipped to take the hits. He's not equipped for the fast movement. He's not equipped for a 300-pound linebacker coming at you near the speed of light. They're not equipped for that. But they are equipped to, from the sidelines, talk about what concerns them,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
The
guy to
client
the
has
far,
the information.
the client has the information and they have the playbook on the soon to be ex spouse.
Yeah.
I frequently say to my clients, frequently when I'm talking to them, I go, it's your spouse. You tell me, what are they gonna do? And I frequently say that. But Lisa, the information that I get from my client, like, is highly, highly reliable. Now, do I have to filter that information? Yeah, because it comes to me very emotionally charged,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm a professional. That's what I do. I can easily filter through it. But so often, even in my office, I'll say to my team, they'll ask me a question, and I'll say, what did Linda say? Linda being the made up client name. And they'll say, I don't know. I didn't ask her. I'm asking you. And I said, well, we work for Linda. How about you? You tell me what she said, right? Because, and I remind my clients, like, this is your life,
Mm-hmm.
but understand the role of an attorney. I'm an advocate. Now, another word for advocate is a protector,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm going to protect my clients from onslaughts and attacks by opposing counsel, by their spouse, and I'm also going to protect them from the misinterpretations of the bench.
Mm.
But it's not a solo endeavor. And the whole notion of sit down, be quiet, I'm taking care of this, that's patriarchal. It's outlived its course, and you should be in that game. Now, Lisa, how much should they be in that game? Now that varies.
Mm.
I, use a term frequently in my office, and I don't use it in any derogatory way. It's kind of like my code speech with my team, and I'll say, Linda is a sophisticated client. Pull her in on this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because clients come with different levels of, and when I say sophistication, really what I'm talking about is their emotional readiness and their business readiness, the combination of the two,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that varies. But I, as a lawyer, as an advocate, I recognize where my clients are. One of my major taglines was, let me be your brave. So a lot
Mm.
of clients come to me and they are so just they have been so traumatized, narcissistic abuse, emotional abuse, whatever it is, that they can't come into the game with me. They can't call the plays today. So I'm like the complete proxy. Let me be your brave. Let me carry you through this. But that carrying can't endure the whole divorce process, because then we'll end up in, post judgment quagmire,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where, I mean, it's just a mess. So there's different levels of client involvement, but the level should not be at zero. Or let me correct that, it should not stay at zero, because
Mm.
we know some clients come and they have been emotionally battered and they're at zero. Everything has been stripped from them. And so that's a temporary state. And I tell those clients, listen, I'm going to handle everything. I'm going to handle this for you. And we give concierge service. But we also have to tell them, you got to get out of this quick, because the more concierge service I give you, the more we're eating away at your kids' college fund,
Yes. Yes.
right? Like it, it's just the truth. And clients, like when clients are saying, "Oh, I got this great attorney, this wonderful attorney," and listen, this is how I make my living, Lisa. But an over dependence on an attorney, you are squandering inheritance to somebody you love. It's just the truth, Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think about how people coming out of these abusive relationships where there has been coercive control and there is like a real big power differential, that people often unwittingly repeat the same cycle with their attorney, where they're like, okay, I got out of here, now I'm going to give this person a whole bunch of money and they're going to save my life, and I don't have to understand what emotion means, I don't need to know what's going on, like that's what I'm paying them for. And I think you and I are completely on the same page, as in like, now is the time, it's such an opportunity for you to change that cycle, to change that power dynamic, to say, I gotta put on my big boy, big girl panties and become part of this. I need to understand what's happening with my life instead of doing that daddy or mommy's going to fix it for me, because
Exactly.
that's not healthy. That's your first opportunity to change the way you approach your personal relationships as well, is to know this is your life, your case, and that you need to play a significant role
You,
collaboratively.
I mean, Lisa, you know, I'm from the South, so all I can say to that is amen, praise the Lord to what you just said.
And I know exactly where you're from, Mia, because we just talked about it. South Carolina
Exactly.
girl.
I mean, but it's gospel. I'll tell you, in terms of getting in the game, when I was going through my own personal custody matter, and my children were itty bitties, they were 5 years old, and they were being traumatized. I mean, they were being traumatized, and they were seeing a therapist, a highly experienced, wonderful therapist, and I was, this is happening to the girls, and I gotta save the girls. And she said, that's why you got to get a team. She said, Mia, let the girls sit with this.
Mm.
Let them sit with these uncomfortable emotions, and let me help them develop the language to frame these emotions and to move from these emotions. And she said, Mia, I know you hate this, but you're in the presence of making and raising incredibly resilient children,
Yeah.
right? But let them sit through, process, develop a vocabulary to give a description of the uncomfortable um, feeling that they're feelings. And I'm just telling you, best advice ever, because I learned, like, when you're in a divorce context, you can't save your children.
Yeah, that's
Just like
so
you're,
important to remember, that you can't save your children. We just were on a call with a client talking about this, who's got a teenager saying, I'm so worried because my daughter's going to be miserable. And I said, but you can't do anything
can't
to
do
fix that.
anything.
So, but she is going to learn, like your daughters did, how to sit with it, how to advocate, how to deal with her own relationship with that other parent, where you're not going to be the intermediary. We don't want you to be the intermediary because your kid is going to become an adult and stay an adult a lot longer than they're going to be a child, and they have to figure it out.
They have to, you can't save them. So accept that, sit with that, but the kids, like, have a team member, have a therapist to read, and that's a part of your strategic plan. So we're not off topic. We're
Right.
still talking about the strategic plan for your divorce. And that is a part of the strategic plan, especially when custody is an issue. Fortifying these kids, giving these kids, a team, a therapist, right? But knowing and accepting and acknowledging you can't save them. Like, you can't do it, parent. And believe me, these kids will develop a powerful voice. My daughters are adolescents, and their communication styles are just so amazing. Like, they know how to say no. They know
Mm-hmm.
how to say it's not what I want to do. Whether I like it or not, they know how
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, is that kids in these situations, we worry so much. I mean, that was my biggest fear, is like, how are my kids going to be okay through and after something this awful? But they develop the most amazing social, emotional skills, far superior to their peers, because they're dealing with this now at a young age. I mean, my daughter has been told she's got the skills of like a 40-something-year-old woman, and she's only in her early 20s. I wish I had those skills. I wouldn't have ended up where I did if I had those skills at her age. So,
And I second that, because I often think, if I had the communication skills, which are boundary setting skills, communication skills are boundary setting skills. If I had those skills, that my daughters have, likewise, Lisa, I, would not have had some of the missteps that I've had in life that, landed me in divorce court.
yep, yep. So, any other things that people come in? I already know what the answer is to this. I can imagine what you're going to say first. People come in thinking it's supposed to be like this. How often do you hear, like, why doesn't the judge just
Exactly.
listen?
Why are they getting away with lying? Like, and it's very difficult to explain to people who are so emotionally vested that when the other side is in court telling lie after lie, all the judge is really hearing is blah 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 blah,
Right.
because they hear that all the time. And so, like, that's something to manage. And in terms of strategic oversight of your divorce, like, listen, your lawyer is your partner, and your lawyer is like one of your best friends for a specific time, but you can't lose sight. And regardless of how great your attorney is, and I am a great attorney, my clients adore me, and many clients are really good. Past clients are friends today. But listen, you can't overuse anything, because an overuse of anything is out of balance, right?
Mm.
And you just have to be mindful, strategically mindful, on what you're using your lawyer for. And I'm not talking about these entry points where you're devastated and you really need your lawyer to be really hands-on to, help you get on your feet. I'm not talking about that. And I understand that, and I get that. And I was there, right? But you've got to move past that. And a part of strategic oversight to your case really is, having a team. And listen, I make my money off of, contested litigation. But the clients, and I can just tell you this, Lisa, the clients who I have, who are in, working with divorce coaching groups or doing individual divorce coaching, like, those are the A+ clients. And the reason why they're A+ clients is because they are being coached on the process, and they are
Mhm.
being coached on self management, and they're being coached on mitigating costs. And guess what? In the context of a divorce, when you mitigate costs, this is the truth, you're also mitigating drama.
Yeah.
Like they're mitigating costs is positively correlated with several other positive attributes of the divorce process. You mitigate costs, you that means you are mitigating drama, but you're also mitigating your personal angst. And when you mitigate your personal angst, Lisa, you settle your nervous system down, and your nervous system is not firing so much.
Hmm.
And listen, I talk about this as an invisible cost a lot because I, like many other women who have gone through divorces, and especially where there's any kind of narcissistic abuse, financial abuse, that crazy stuff,
Hmm.
we end up, and I'm pointing to myself because I'm one of them, we end up on the back end with autoimmune diseases.
Right.
I have an autoimmune disease that I am convinced came out of, this divorce action. Well, it wasn't a divorce action. Let me clarify. It was a custody action
Hmm.
years after my divorce. But I'm convinced that the firing of my immune system, and that is a big emotion, that's a big cost. So
Yeah.
that is another prong, Lisa, of strategic oversight, because any kind of malady, physical malady, that is a cost.
Huge. And not just the physical effects, and thinking about autoimmune disorder. It's not just on you. I mean, my daughter developed an autoimmune disorder in during the
Exactly.
divorce process. And it was like, I mean, she was in ninth grade. Where did that suddenly come from? And I've heard from doctors that it can be in your body, but something sets it off. So yeah, it's real, but it affects you as a parent. If you're not supported, if you're, you're firing off all the time, your brain isn't working properly, you're stressed out, your kids feel that.
They
Conflict bleeds onto your kids. So drama, all that, like the better you are, the better your kids are.
and
People
that is
don't want to believe that though. They just are
people.
like, let me send my kids to therapy. Let me take care of the kids without taking care of themselves. Do you see that sometimes?
It's what. Listen, every single one of us have heard on the airplanes, put the oxygen mask on your own face before you do that of others. Like there is nobody who can say they have not heard that, right?
Yeah.
And it is the truth. And what I always tell people, because I've seen where people are surprised at what their kids tell the attorneys for the children, or
Mhm.
what their kids take as their position. And I tell everybody, listen, kids are very self-centered little creatures, and they're looking for their own survival. And so if you're not a rock, like they got to swing to the other parent, because
So important.
the other parent is not on the floor with snot everywhere, right? Kids need a rock, Lisa, and they need a rock, and I know they need a rock. And that is a part of the strategic oversight of your divorce. Listen, it'll knock the wind out of you. It knocked the wind out of me, right? It knocked me to my knees, but let me tell you, I was quick on the get up,
Hmm.
and there's no mystery on how or why I was quick on the get up. It's because I immediately engaged a team.
Yeah.
Like I work with two coaches, Lisa.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's amazing because you as an attorney recognize that. We have lots of clients who are attorneys that say the same thing. I can't do this myself. My health is affected, my parenting's affected. I'm taking time off from my job. It's consuming my life and I'm completely overwhelmed. I need help. Awesome. And
Exactly.
later it ends up making them better at their own job, better communicators, better litigators, whatever it is, because they're just calmer.
It, it's it really is. And so, like, when anyone's going through a divorce and they're sitting back and they see your podcast and the topic is strategic oversight of your divorce, like a big part of that strategic oversight, a big part of that whole thing is emotional self-care and emotional management. So I know, if somebody saw the title, they would think, oh, we're going to talk about money, money, money. And that is a piece of it. But that's not the lion's share. The lion's share really is emotional management. It just is, Lisa.
Yeah, and it ties to money. Like
It
you just
ties to
said,
money.
lowering the cost, lowers the conflict, lowers everything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And with the strategic, another thing, Lisa, in our kind of prep to this, we talked about the money aspect of it. And listen, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Let me rephrase. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You've got to look at this divorce process from a business perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And wasting money, wasting, emphasis on wasting, not paying for your divorce, but wasting money on needless gyrations in the divorce process. It's just a poor, poor, poor business decision. It
Mm-hmm.
just it's just a bad business decision. And this is not talking about, oh, don't spend too much money because you don't have this money. Where's this? No, no, no. I'm talking, Lisa, squarely about poor business decision making in the context of a divorce action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part of strategic oversight, we always say we want you to learn to run your case like a business because these are the cases that require a lot more of attention. They're more complex, and you need to realize what you're spending your money on and make sure it's the proper person to deal with the issue that you're confronting.
And another aside thing, um, just like what's the tip? What should people do? One thing that people can do that I know people are notorious for not doing is read your invoices
Yeah.
and read your invoices. And I want to say this because listen, whenever a client has questions on an invoice, it's a hooray moment for me because I know I have somebody who's engaged.
Oh, that's so neat. I love
Honestly,
that. Yeah.
Lisa, honestly, like that's not just an A plus client, it's an A plus plus client.
Wow. And you would think the opposite. I think our clients get scared when they see something on an invoice and they're like, I don't know what this is, or I feel like this was wasted time because two attorneys answered the question differently. And we've said to people, ask the question. Ask if you can get credited if you have, because I know with my own attorney who was lovely, when I'd question something, he'd be like, I'll just take that off. And it was like, wow, I just saved $150 by
Exactly.
asking one question.
Right. And it's not whether or not you needed the 150 or whether the $150 made a difference in your life. Listen, this you got to look at this as a business, and wasteful spending is just wasteful, and waste is bad in every context, Lisa. Lisa, there is no context where waste is a good or prized thing.
Yeah. We always talk about the cost benefit analysis as well, where someone's like, I really want to get this. I'm going to keep fighting for something that maybe isn't even worth the money that you're spending for the fight. Do you want to talk a little bit about cost benefit analysis in terms of waste and
Yeah,
maybe
so
mistakes people make versus what they should be doing?
all right, you're hearing my two four-legged furry friends, and I don't know what they hear, but so again, I love numbers, I love Excel charts, I love business, right? And one of the things that we do on our side is for every settlement agreement, which I call deal, for every deal, we do a whole Excel spreadsheet, right? And we spreadsheet it out. And then we also spreadsheet out like how much it's going to cost each motion.
Oh, that's so
We know how
helpful.
much it's going to cost,
Yeah.
right? And so, and this is the deal that's being offered. This is the deal you want. And we put it in numbers. And then we also say, now to fight about these two things that we don't agree with the deal, there's going to be one hefty, fully brief motion, and that one hefty, fully brief motion with oral arguments is going to cost both sides probably 25K.
Yep.
So 25K, and then you factor in a 50-50% probability
Mm-hmm.
that that money might go down the drain for you, or it might help you recoup, the 100K. And then I love to talk about all the invisible costs because I'm very comfortable talking about invisible things. So I'm also with these motions, and this is in New York County, and getting it fully briefed and getting an oral argument stay. I'm gonna take up 9 more months of your life.
Yes. We call it being
That
in the muck. You want to be in the muck for at least 9 more months.
there is a cost to that. And so, like, 150K, do we really? Because 150K, ED split two ways, that's 75 each. I've just crossed the 75K point for you. So now you're at a deficit.
Right. It's like, what is the price of peace?
Yeah, but really, again, I love numbers, and I put it to a number. Every one of my deals, there's an Excel spreadsheet, and if somebody is listening and they go, "Oh, my attorney never does that," well, attorneys are notorious for not being the best at math.
Mhm.
But I'm sure in most attorneys' offices, there's, somebody in that office that is an Excel whiz that could put it to numbers for you. And really, what the cost of a motion is because you're getting your invoices. And you see every time a motion is filed, like you see your invoice goes up 7,500 to 10K with just the filing.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love that it's something that could be known ahead of time. We had a client a few months ago in the Midwest who they had been battling outside of court, and then the lawyer said, "All right, this is what it's going to cost for a 3-day trial. It's going to be at least $48,000," and broke down everything in a list of each task that was going to happen. And this didn't include the actual court time. This was just the prep. And so our client was able to look at it and say, there's no way I can afford $48,000 trial. And again, this was out of court. It stayed out of court. It got done out of court, and he saved a ton of money. But had he not seen the actual reality of what it would cost, he might have gone in and then gone into debt.
That's exactly right. And that just reminds me of another thing that we do in my firm because, I always tell my team if we make a move or we say something or do something and somebody is surprised, especially a client, then we have a failure somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so in my retainer agreement, and that's another thing, approach your divorce as a business. Folks, I know the retainer agreements are 11, 12, 13 pages long, but that's because it is a real contract. And in the
Mm-hmm.
state of New York, we are required as lawyers to put certain things in that retainer agreement. And so, again, read your retainer agreement. And one of the things, Lisa, that's in my retainer, and not only is it in my retainer agreement, there's a little initial line right by it because I want to make sure my clients read it. And it says that should this matter get scheduled for trial, right, that we require a trial retainer. And it's a
Mm.
big number. I won't say what the number is, but it's a
I can,
big number.
yeah.
And my clients have to initial, right? And they all do. And I know they look at it because I hear frequently, wait, am I going to have to pay this? And I go, not if we resolve it. And
Mm-hmm.
so my clients really start their matters with kind of like a business mindset because no matter how long this goes, as long as, we don't go to trial, as long as we are trying to work it out, but once we are going to trial, because before you get to trial, there's been lots of settlement offers. I mean, if you
Mm-hmm.
have two solid lawyers, there should be, right? And people know. So read your retainers. That is a part of strategic oversight of your divorce. And certainly it's a key part of looking at your divorce as a business because the retainer agreement is a contract. And if your attorney's retainer agreement doesn't mention anything about a trial retainer,
Hmm.
It's something to consider because number one, it's a number that is way bigger than an initial retainer number is,
Yeah, and I
right?
think most people have no idea because they think that initial retainer is supposed to cover trial, and then they're shocked when it's gone, and they're saying my lawyer's refusing to work with me unless I give them another 25,000 for trial, and I can't understand how this happens. So I think what you're stressing too, so much of strategic oversight is understanding what is happening.
Exactly. And asking, you know, listen, if you can, and I say if you can because I understand the initial trauma of this whole process, but like you just have to be in this game and you have to ask questions and you can't, oh, I love this one. I tell people this all the time. When they're talking about your life, don't let anybody talk over your head.
Mm.
You have to say to your attorney, I don't know what any of what you just said meant.
Yeah.
Like this is so your life,
Yeah.
right? Strategic oversight. You must force your attorney, who's your team member, who works for you, right? You must force them to speak in a way that you understand,
Hmm.
right? So at least I have these girls and they're nanny that they've had literally since they were 4 weeks old is Spanish speaking, completely Spanish speaking. So my girls are fluent, blah blah blah. But there are times when I come home and I'm just tired because it's been a tiring day,
Hmm.
and all she ever has ever spoken to me was in Spanish. But there are days I come home and I'm tired, and I just say no entiendo nada, soy
Yeah.
cansada.
I'm
That's the
tired.
same thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the same thing. When you are really tired and emotionally exhausted, your ability to comprehend, to translate diminishes.
Right? You can't process anything because you're done.
You're done. So you really can't have your lawyer really using any legal term. Like you talk about you need plain English
Right.
because the process has exhausted you. So
Hmm.
when you're exhausted with the process, a part of strategic oversight is honoring the fact that you're exhausted, honoring that. And how do you honor it? You say, listen, I'm not understanding any of what you're saying. And these are the two substitute words. Can you say it again and say it with different words? Or can we talk about this tomorrow?
Okay, love
Like
it.
you have to honor yourself. This is an exhausting process. And when you're exhausted, your mental faculties are just not sharp. So you have got to honor your own limitations.
Yeah,
Does
so
that make sense?
important. So important. I think this is so helpful, especially for this community, because like I said, they feel overwhelmed, but they also feel completely exhausted. And then they feel stupid because they're exhausted, because they're like, I should have done this and I should have done this, and I don't understand why I can't. It's like it's normal to
It's
be
normal.
overwhelmed and exhausted. You're allowed to be. So go
You're
take a nap,
allowed to be.
and then we'll try to do little bits at a time, little bit.
Exactly. And like, sometimes people worry, and I frequently have to say to my clients, you're way ahead of yourself. Let's
Hmm.
just come back and let's be here because this is what's in front of us.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you where I won't go with my clients because I don't believe in angst and I don't believe in fear. And where I personally, as an attorney, won't go with my clients is I won't go down the road of the hypothetical. Well, what if
The catastrophizing highway.
I will not do it? Like that is a professional boundary that I
Hmm.
set and that I'll explain it because I'm not doing you any good if I feed your fear with fuel. Oh,
Yeah.
this is what might happen if the bridge collapses.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feed that because it doesn't serve my client's interests, Lisa, for me to help them be more fearful of the boogeyman in the closet. And it's literally that, Lisa. Lisa, that's a literal thing. It's the boogeyman in the closet.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you probably heard we've talked before about how we think people should not be doom scrolling and looking at content about terrible things that have happened to other people. And oh my gosh, family court's going to be against me because then they get that victim mindset. How do you deal with a client who's in the victim mindset?
Well, listen, all right, because I practice the way I practice. I strongly, strongly, strong. So first of all, I call out that mindset because I practice in a very forthright manner, right? And I will say, listen, Linda, I know all of this feels real to you, but most of what you just described is hyperbole. Like it's fantastical. It's so remote,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna email you the name of one therapist and two coaches because it will serve you well. Honestly, it will serve you well. Like that, everything is the battlefield of the mind.
Yeah.
Everything. And I like what you said, scrolling for the horrors. The term that I use frequently is the parade of horribles because it's the parade of horribles. One thing we got to just describe one thing after the next. And I say, no, 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 I'm not going to participate in the parade of horribles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to be okay. And what you need right now is a mindset shift. And listen, you need somebody to help you get that mindset shift. Lisa, none of this stuff is a solo endeavor.
Right. And it can be learned. This can all be learned.
Absolutely. It Lisa, that's how you and I got it, right?
Right. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Right? Because I certainly know I am a glass half full mindset, but I practice it.
Yeah, me too.
Like it's a practice. And so wherever you are, if you're feeling terrified, there's no shame because shame is a low level vibration. It will keep you down low, right? You just are where you are. That's just where you are.
And
That's
that's
where you are.
okay and normal.
Lisa, is so normal because we are all at different places. You know how we have this saying that people talk about the overnight success that was 25 years in the making, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
frequently hear that from clients. Frequently, oh Mia, I wish I could be like you, and oh Mia, oh okay, you know how much I work at being.
Yep. Yep.
Do you know, like, I not only do I work at it, Lisa, I cultivate it. And let me tell your listeners and viewers, how do you cultivate it? You cultivate relationships with people like Lisa. Lisa and I are in a relationship. Now, it's been a virtual relationship for
I know, and
several
it
years.
shouldn't be because we're so close
We're
by,
so close.
but
But Lisa,
it won't be.
we are in relationship with each other. And every time we have contact with each other, it really is an iron sharpens iron experience. Like we both get better. And all of your listeners, they can do that. Start wherever you are and cultivate these A relationships because everything is vibrational. And how are you going to do your mindset shift when you have this new friend who is just happy Pollyanna, seeing that glass half full and overflowing? Well, that mindset is going to spread on you. But the people telling you how so and so lost everything in the divorce and the kids hate them and the dogs hate them, that doesn't serve.
No, I know. And especially like a judge is going to rule against you and it's all bias and corruption, not helpful.
It's not helpful.
It's
It's
harmful.
it's harmful. It's harmful. And might there be nuggets of truth? Might there be a judge who has a bias, you know, for or against certain people? Yeah, but that doesn't carry a day because this process is so dynamic, Lisa. Lisa, this process is so dynamic. It has so many factors, but I can tell you, mindset and the mindset that you choose to adopt and cultivate, it's going to carry the day.
I know. I know. So with that, Mia, how can people find you and your beautifully positive mindset?
Oh, okay. So you can find me. You can go to my website, which is www.miapoppe.com, and Poppe is spelled Poppe. You can also find me on IG. And Lisa, you'll probably be collabing us and posting this.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
when Lisa collabs and posts, if you do a DM to that post, I'll see the DM because I'm a collab. So they can find me there. And they can email me directly at my business at miapoppe at nylawsa.com. And like Lisa, I'm on Instagram, IG, miapoppe.esq, and you can find me there.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Mia. And I am looking forward to meeting you in person, hopefully next month.
That's right. Hopefully next month. Thank
Yes.
you, Lisa, for having me. It's always so much fun. And I always feel like, we're really helping.
Yes. Yes. Agree. All right. See you soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.